Okay, do you want to do the quick fire round first?
Would you mind if we quick fired some questions at you?
Yes,
I can give you something or something, and you have to do them just to wake us all up.
Okay.
Fruit or veg?
I would say fruit.
Tennis or badminton?
Tennis or
Badminton.
tennis, definitely.
Golf or hockey?
Golf.
Carrots or peas?
Carrots.
Lettuce or tomatoes?
Tomatoes.
Football or rugby?
It's a difficult one because there's no rugby in my country, so I would say football.
Move on to the general questions. Of course, if they are in the problems with the newspapers, we don't have to answer them, just okay. Are there any plans for new episodes or specials?
Yes, we have. What we are trying to do, and it will be interesting for the fans to maybe come up with an ideas for us. That will be interesting because we are thinking we don't really want. And what it is that the fan can maybe come up with ideas for us because we are a little bit I'm a little bit. The dream situation would be this: that you made Lazy Town episodes like we did, and then you would do the Lazy Town movie, and the Lazy Town movie is about either Sporticus number 1 or Sporticus number 11. So what it is that I'm finding Sporticus number 11, and it's a very fun. We have already written this beautiful story, and it's very action driven, and it's for older audiences. A little bit like it's all life. And it's a fantastic world, a little bit like a mixture of Avatar to...
So you'll be expanding Lazy Town outside of the actual town?
Yes, absolutely. And so then it's basically that Robbie Rockman takes over the world because Sporticus have 1 year to find another to be 11. And Robbie Rockman gets rid of him, so he cannot really find the boy or the girl, so we wanted to take that, the new one, and to put that into a new episode. So it will be that kind of look, and then we take that further. Then also we want to do Lazy Town, even maybe especially Stephanie cartoons. Like you would take a little bit there. You would have very 3-minute Robbie Rockman, very funny sketches, just like really, really funny, like something that he'd never stand up from the chair. He's trying to do stuff, and he's too lazy, and he get all kind of stuff. And then we wanted to think about to do Lazy Town basically musically, and then we wanted to do Lazy Town singing or moving with Stephanie. So Stephanie was like a band, like a Stephanie band. We had 100 Stephanies behind her in Iceland now recently. It was amazing. Just the video came out just now, yesterday I think, or 2 days ago. And we had a show in Iceland. It was like 300 people. We are working on Lazy Town Symphony with symphony orchestra. Is that you would have symphony orchestra music playing the Lazy Town music, and Robbie Rockman would maybe come in and do one song, and he'd try to destroy it, he'd lose all the papers and all that. So it's very funny symphony orchestra. But then we are also working on Lazy Town cook show. The idea right now that we have to do cooking show, but I'm trying to do that entertaining. I think how do we do that? Then we are thinking about if we would shoot new Lazy Town episodes, should we introduce new characters? Should a boy come in, or should it be a...
So the characters from the original stage show, or just...
or I was thinking more like a Robbie Rockman would maybe get a help for somebody, or there will be a new villain, and Robbie Rockman was like, why is a new villain? And then maybe there will be a Stephanie's friend, same age, another boy, or would it be... So how would we do that? I always liked in the old show, it was never really translated basically, but we had a rooster who was French, and he actually lived outside Lazytown, and he had to wake everybody up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he didn't understand, why is that my job? I know I'm a rooster, I know I have to do this, but why do I have to be this every morning? Why can't I just sleep? Why? And the mayor was always come in and say to the rooster, you don't wake everybody up, that's why you're so lazy. And then he was waking up at 2 o'clock in the day and doing in the wrong time, and it's like, oh. And this rooster didn't really, he didn't like actually movement or anything at all, or sport was not so much at all. And he was a little bit like a narrator of the show. So what are they doing right now? Why are they doing this and that? So maybe we introduce some of those guys. I don't know. And in the cooking, we are thinking like, should we have celebrity chef? Should we famous, like we will have a guy Hell Kitchen? Or should we have chefs like who would be a character that we would make? Like is it a new character? Is it just like very friendly character? Who is the chef? So we are thinking about how do we do that. So that chef could maybe be famous cooking around the world, that would be really, really funny. So we don't know. So if the fans have any ideas, what they think should be a new character in Lazytown.
Well, I think after this gets out, I think there'll be a lot of emails to Lazytown. Well, our next question.
Too late.
Oh, go on, Luca.
And hi.
Hi. I got a bit lost and my train was late. Sorry.
Well, this one is for our American listeners, where they've been asking about the relaunch rumours in America of Lazytown, because they say that on most of the networks, Lazytown is not broadcast, and there's rumours about it. Is this something you can talk about, or is this real?
Basically, what it is that you have, when we sold Lazytown to the United States 2004, you have a major 4 networks. And there is a Nickelodeon, Disney, and then PBS, and then you have Discovery, and Cartoon Network is there, but it's more cartoons. And the challenge is that Lazytown is not owned by those entities. It's not owned by Disney. It's not owned by Viacom. And when they have their program, they broadcast their own program like every day. So when Lazytown hits 2004, it got straight to number 1 and 2, and suddenly they realize that, wait a minute, we don't even own this, and it's on our channel. So what they do is they use concept like Lazytown as a, I don't know what you call it in English, but they will call rapids in running. Is that there's a runner sometime who goes into a relay race, or not relay, but they're running like 10 kilometers, and he runs really, really fast to let everybody pick up the time, and then he just give up, and the rest is gonna win. So this is done in sports. So sometimes, I don't know what they're called. So we would both be from England, and I would ask her to run as fast as she can. So she's going to help me to get my best time, and I need to push me to the limit, and then she just stop. And because he's like, dead, and I keep going and try to beat the world record. So what they do is that they use it to track eyeballs to new shows. So they move Lazytown always. So the audience are looking, where is it? So, and they do that because they want to get their shows on air. So, for example, Lazytown is very popular on Disney Channel, but they can't commercialize. They cannot tell that Lazytown is on Disney, and so Lazytown is something like a stepchild in those big stations. So we're always thinking like, what can we do with it? How can we get it really that the time slot that it should deserve, basically? And so we are speaking to most of those like how do we do it? And it's every single day. And sometimes it goes really well, and sometimes it goes really bad. So we are thinking like we need to launch Lazytown in the United States totally different. So that's why we're talking to a lot of retailers, like really big retailers. We are talking to movie cinemas, like theaters. We are talking about from Comcast to Spanish channel to all kind of different ways to do it. It's very tricky. The United States have the least possibilities to do a kids' TV in the world. And if you think about the land of a free, it's actually very interesting. There are 808 channels in China for kids, but there's only 4 in the United States.
Oh. Well, I think the American fans will thank you for telling them that. It's good to keep up with these kind of things.
Yes, and we would let you know immediately that when we know a little bit how to. The United States is a very interesting market.
Yes. Okay. If you could be any other Lazy Town character, who would it be?
Basically, I don't know if you know that, but I'm gonna give you a secret and you can write about it. But Lazy Town characters, they were built around issues when you raise kids. So each one of them have certain elements, and after 20 years, when let's say that you are, this is a little bit difficult to understand, but I'm going to try to explain it. It's 20 years ago when I looked at the Lazy Town, before I made it, I was thinking about like, if you explain sports, any sport like football, you would write down on a piece of paper everything about football. And then it would come a point that you would not write anything more. It's finished to write about it. I'm not saying that you can do different goals or something, but I'm talking about rules. So, for example, you're not allowed to run with the ball in your hand, except the goalkeeper. So you would write that. You're not allowed to kick the ball with your legs when you do a throw-in, because there's certain rules. So certain things you cannot do in football that you can do in rugby. So you explain that on a piece of paper. Then when you're finished to explain it, you put it on TV. Everybody loves it. Critical mass will get it, and then you sell merchandise. Football, socks, and costumes, and whatever, balls, and so I understand. It's like 1, 2, and 3. First you explain it, then you show it, and then you sell it. This is 99% of all business in the world. So you explain something, your concept, people get it. You get a critical mass, everybody loves it, and then you sell something around it. Okay? But if you change sports or football into health, then the problem starts. And you start to talk to 1,000 doctors and you say, what is a healthy person? And they start to write it down. It will be endless. It's literally like to ask somebody, what is humor? What is funny? Write down for me everything is funny. Write down for me love. What is love? You couldn't explain it. It's like endless. Or freedom. Because if you explain freedom, you eliminate the words. Because if you say freedom is to speak, what about to be freedom to be naked? Or what about freedom to be standing on one leg? So you cannot explain it. So what I wanted to do was to make a concept that you couldn't explain. It was not loud. It would be like freedom or something like that. So when Lazy Town, if you look at the character of Lazy Town, all of the characters, and after 20 years, I have to say in one word, if I had to explain on a piece of paper what is healthy, that would be balance. So a person in balance will be fine. So if you put all the Lazy Town characters in one box, that is a one healthy human being. So you should be all of those guys. You should not only be Sportacus or only be in Europe, you should be all of them. So you only be Sportacus on your best day. When you wake up and you woke up this morning, you say, I can do anything, I'm feeling good. Next time you're like Robbie Rocky, you're like, oh, I just can't do it anymore. Or next time you were like Stephanie, you say, what about if I try that? What about if I try this? And be positive, like, oh, okay, this doesn't work, let's try that one. There's always a way, let's go there. And sometimes you're like Siki, you just want to eat a little chocolate. And then Trixie for someone, she's about following rules, but also to break rules. So you want to bring up kids who break rules. Not necessarily also follow them, but also break them. Because in some countries, women couldn't vote, for example. So somebody stood up and said, hey, wait a minute, this is a stupid rule, let's change it. Or you would say in politics, you say, I want to build houses differently. I want to do this differently. Then you are breaking rules you are now to make society better. So that's Trixie. I think you should be all of those guys. Mixture of all of them. Then you'll be healthy. So I don't really have a favorite kind what I want to be. I want to be all of them. And so just a little bit of all of them.
Okay, on to the next question. How many push-ups can you do like this? What's your record?
It's very amazing because I saw when I learned push-up when I was a little kid, I did it absolutely correctly. Let's say that. So it's like I do it like every single muscle you use, and it's a maximum strength. It's possible to do push-up that you drop and so you can get thousands if you don't. But if you're really thinking about the train, it's a little like a ballet person. I never understood when the ballet person standing. I think it's called plie or something, and they're going down and up. I said, this is not difficult. They even hold a stick when they're doing it, like a bar, and they go down. But when you learn how to do it, it's much more difficult. It's because then they use the whole body and they sweat and sweat. Just do like 5 movements. So when I do push-up, they're always very difficult to do normal. I remember when I was 15, I did 192 or something like that, or nearly 200. I think I was missing 3/4 for 200. And I did a test in school, and I did it. And then we had like a lighter, or like a matches underneath, and you have to touch the box, always here. But today, I'm not really sure. I'm not as good as I used to be, because now you're getting older. I think I will be maybe like 120 now. But when I look to the world record is, I think it's 10,000 or something. It's amazing, but it's a Chinese guy or Japanese, very thin, small, and just move like crazy. So it's incredible.
Okay, what is your favorite color and why? Favorite color?
What is that? Color. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. Color. This is a very good question. I have two hobbies. I like cars, not to drive them. It's more like I like the design. Okay. The second thing I like is the design of houses. I want to be an architect, so I study houses all the time. I build my own house from scratch, everything in it. So everything like when I'm in this building, because I look like how do they do it and why do they do it, etc. So that's why when you do that, you are always looking at colors. Like, are you always putting colors together? So I think there's not such a thing as color who's ugly or not ugly. It's like how you combine them together. It's like how you just how you put them together. They could be a really ugly color into something that doesn't match. And I think that is something. So it's not like a one color. I like combinations of things. So I started to paint a lot now, because I used to paint a lot of pictures when I was small. So now I'm painting a lot of pictures, and I'm not really good at all. But I like to a little bit to work with colors, because it's really for your brain. It's very good. So if I were a kid, I would say I don't want to have a favorite color. I want to have all colors, because that give you opportunity to be much more open. Here's something I want to tell you, another secret. As a person, to be a better person, what you need to do is that you should try to learn how to have the option open. I give you for example, most of the decision you make is made from your gut, and what happens is that the subconscious inside you can answer yes and no questions. So for example, if you walk across the street, suddenly comes a car, you would back, oh no, and you would go back, but your brain is not telling you left leg back, right leg back. It happens immediately. So this subconscious answers most of your questions. So when you speak, you speak over here, like in the air, and this answer is or no. So for example, if you would tell your friends that you're going on a vacation, and you would tell everybody you meet, I'm going on vacation to London. Going on vacation to London. Going on vacation to London. You will tell it for a year, because you're going to go one day. What's going to happen is that 8 o'clock in the morning one day, when you're reading the paper, suddenly you see a advertising who says trip to London, 30 quid, and you're like, and you're not even thinking about it. You open it, oh, London. But you didn't see any commercial for building houses, like for wooden timber, $199, or new toilet for $366. That you never saw it. You went through the whole paper, and absolutely, if you read a paper, you wouldn't see any of it, because your brain doesn't go there. So if you talk about it, it's going to happen. That's why when sport people say we're going to win, because they're not really talking to anybody except themselves out here. So that's why I believe you're going to become what you speak about yourself, or what you're going to do, or what somebody else speak about you. So if you have friends who talk with you about you're no good, get a new friends. If you have friends who are upbeat, who try to tell you, yes, of course you can do this. Of course, what should we do? What's our future? What do we want to do? And you speak about it. If you say, I like politics, you speak about politics, that's where you're going to go. So it's very important that think about everything you say. If I say, my color is blue, and it's up in the air, blue, 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 I would not really look at purple color. The blue would be number one. But if I say, I like all colors, that means that I have much more range to look at colors. So that's why I think it's important exactly what you say and how you do it. And that is something that I believe that you should have open. And as a kid, when you are 14 to 21, this is the best time of your life. It's absolutely great. This is a time that you don't really need to think about babies. You don't really need to do other things. And you think this time is like sometimes, it's hard because the brain is moving all the time. But you need to look at this time as the best time ever in your life, because that's what it is. But sometimes you don't appreciate it when you're actually living it right now. It's really interesting. So, and if you believe that other people get success, or you believe that somebody else can do it, it's a bullshit. You can easily do it. The only thing you need to do, when you tell people about it, you need to focus on it by yourself. You need to write it for yourself. You should have a mood board in your home. What do you like? So if you love to go to a beach, have a picture of beaches. Rip that out of paper, put it on a board. Just look at beaches all the time. Then you're going to see it, then your subconscious is going to get you there. If you tell everybody you're going to New York, you are going to end up in New York. And if I've been an investor, you say, I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. I would say, here's my money. I'm absolutely going to bet that you're going to go to New York. But if you say, I don't really know where I'm going, I have no idea where I'm going, would I give you money to go to New York? Probably not, because you're not going. So it's very important, guys. It's very important.
Okay, the next one's related to these new, the Stephanie thing recently in Iceland. Some people have been saying, been asking if this is heralding the end of Juliana Rose Morillo ceasing to play Juliana. Is it going to move to one of these new Stephanies, or will she continue for some time?
I had Stephanie with me yesterday, and she was fantastic actually in the costume, and she still fitted it and still played it perfectly. And but Julian is also in school, so she is learning a lot, studying. So and that's what I like about her, because she could easily go somewhere and be an actress, but she's really in school. It's very good. But we chose only the person in Iceland for the Icelandic market. So we haven't really looked for Stephanie worldwide, basically not. So that's maybe going to happen. And so the Icelandic Stephanie, we chose 2, and there was more than 800 Stephanies who came to try it. And I invited 130 of them to be on the stage at the same time, and they did. And then there's one really young, 12 years old, who's really good, and there's one who's a little bit older because she can do all the live shows. She can go around, because you can't send 12 years old alone to have a show. She's going to, on Wednesday, she's going to China. There's 75 million people going to the expo in China, Shanghai Expo. And she's going to be going to the Chinese schools, so we're going to find 100 Stephanies, and they're going to dance with her in China. So it's going to be really interesting. So you can't send 12 years old to do that. It's a lot of responsibility. So we haven't really looked for Stephanie at the moment worldwide, but that's going to happen. And also for Sportacus, I think we have about 50 different Sportacus around the world right now. And like in England here, Julian was very good. And there's a lot of good guys who can do it, but it's difficult to play Sportacus. It's very difficult because kids can see it in your eyes if you mean it or not, and you need to have a lot of different skills. It's not only dancing. It's like a human touch. So it's a little bit tricky.
Well, thank you for that. Let's see what else we have. Here's one from our actual person who organises, Anna. How does LazyTown Productions find its crew, production staff, and writers? Because earlier on, in some of the early interviews, you did mention about how you chose your staff, but it was very light. So, do you actually do that side of it? Do you recruit?
Say that again.
How do you recruit? People?
Recruit is hire.
Yeah, hire. How do you actually find them? How do you hire them?
When you shoot, normally production, then there's a certain, it's like an army. It's basically like there's a lieutenant, there's a guy who put the gas on the tank and whatever. So it is a system. And in the production industry, it is a system. You have a producer, you have a line producer, you have a makeup artist, you have a set designer, etc. This is all like posts throughout. So I would choose like 3-4 that I really like, who's very close to me, and then the rest is like what they have done before, or if they fit what we're going to do, how fast they are, how good to work with them, etc., etc. So that is like a system. This is normally done by either that we hire them, I hire a producer and he get all those people stuff, or I hire my main guy who will be producer, music guy like Mauni, Snorri with the sets, and maybe the writer. This is the people I will have, and the costume. I did also the costumes, and so people who were very close to me, and then the production, they do the rest, and then I just look at them if I like them or not. Just look at what they have done before, and if they fit, and then I make the final decision. This is how it's done. But it's more difficult to find creative team, because you never know if you have created LazyTown. Would I create SpongeBob? You understand? Is it possible? So you never know that. So you have to be really careful when you look at resume from people when they say I did that, because maybe necessarily they didn't really do it. They say I did. A lot of people say we did LazyTown, but maybe they didn't do LazyTown. Maybe they did something else in LazyTown. So you have to be careful. But I believe if the person is generally like hard-working person and they are enthusiastic about it, normally that helps a lot.
Oh, thank you very much. I think Anna will like that. Okay.
What's it like working with an international team? You might have language difficulties.
You mean like different languages?
Yeah.
Or you mean like different cultures?
When you hire all these people.
It's not the Americans are a little bit difficult sometimes. I would say they are sometimes, because they're not used to travel so much. And they have never been out of the country. They don't live in an island. So when you have an island mentality, you are used to travel. It's a different mentality. But when you are like a continent, like United States, it's like they're homesick, and etc., etc. But LazyTown team was actually fantastic. We only had like 1 or 2 major small problems. Somebody got sick and need to go home. But the team was absolutely brilliant, and I never had any problems with the team whatsoever. And they were actually just brilliant, worked really hard. And I remember the work of the puppeteers. He liked American food, so he played the mayor, and he really wanted to eat American food all the time. And he's he's not very heavy. He's like a very tall guy, and the mayor is very heavy. And one day, I've been working all day with this heavy puppy, and it's hard work. Even me as Sportacus, I can barely hold it for half an hour, and then for a whole day, it's like amazing. And then suddenly we saw the mayor just faint, boom, and we saw him drop out of frame. And then he didn't really eat enough, because he's only been eating in the same restaurant, so he needed like more balanced food. It was very interesting. But it's not difficult now.
When you, before you first decided to make LazyTown into a TV show, did you know much about that kind of process?
Yeah, I did a show called Gestir. Gestir means visitors. I did that before, and I've done a lot of commercials, and both as a producer and different things. And I didn't know how. When you do a TV, it's a machine. Movies are different. It's like a period. Movie, you shoot for 28 days, like, and then off. But in TV it's constant. You're doing it, like boom, 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 all the time, and that is it's totally different. And in Iceland, they've never done TV more than 16 episodes, total for 2,000 years. So the crew have never done it. Never done TV or going to be 50 episodes or 70, never done that. So, because in Iceland is an island and people move very quickly and they're not used to be in the same job for a long time. So that was a little challenging to get them up to be on the 100% level all the time. Come on, no. Because it's not another day in the job. So, but I was not going to direct Lazy Town at all. And I hired 2 directors to do it, and they came, and one of them was sick immediately and couldn't do it in Iceland actually. So we were shooting the second. We shot one show, we threw it away, never been shown, and then we shot one. We started to shoot the other one. I was supposed to take 6 days to shoot, but he was 3 weeks the first episode to shoot, and it cost me $1 million to do. And then he got sick, and I need to step in and do it. So it was like, what do we do? And I stepped in, I directed. And then from there, I hired another director, and he couldn't do it either. So I just fired him and did it. And then I hired 2 other, and then I got a guy called Jonathan Judge, who I said to, okay, whatever you know, just forget it. And learn from it, learn what I tell you what to do, and then add to what you know on top of that. And that's what he did. And he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And I think I did 40 episodes, something like that. And I think he did 8 and the other guy did 4. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like this. Even if I did almost 40. And but I was never going to do it. I was never going to play Sportacus either. So it was very interesting. So accidentally I did the director, and in writing process, we have 3 writers, Mark, me, and Mauni, and the challenge was that we all had different skills. I did all the action and the structure, and Mauni did the humor, and Mark did helped with the story. So and with a little bit like the language. etc. to pull together. So we had different skills. So I did the skeleton and story ideas and Sportacus stunts and all that, because no writer could write the Sportacus stunts. It was not possible. And because most writers have never done sports. So it was very challenging. And sport people are too stupid to write. So they think that you can do it. So it's very interesting.
Okay, what kind of music do you like? Do you have any specific?
Not really. I have an iPod with 13,000 songs, and I go to shuffle, and I listen to everything that comes out. I really like Class, London Calling, and all kind of songs. There's a lot of I think I like I like all kind of music. But lately I start to like more classical music than I did. I liked a lot of classical music, but now I like it a lot. I listen to it more and more and more. I go to libraries and read books. Is what I do. I read a lot of books, and I try to read 300 books a year. And I read a lot on a plane, so it's like maybe. And then some of my books I pick. That I go to the library, 20% to 30% of the books, I go to the library, pick a book that I don't know anything about. Just pick it. And I go to the plane and I have to read it. And it could be about cats or astronauts or whatever. So first it was horrible. But now, those are the most interesting books that I read. Because it's books that I would never really read. And it opens up your whole new life, whole world. So it's very good. So I think that's why music, listen to a lot of different things. And but I would say classical music now, in those days. Michael Bublé sometimes when I don't need to think too much, then I put Michael Bublé on. because you have a very nice voice. But when I really want to listen to music, I would go to more like heavy music, a little bit more that I really need to go into. Strongless, I love Strongless.
Okay.
I was going to say that you had a question about Spy Next Door, didn't you? About Jackie
Oh
Chan.
yeah. What was it like working with Jackie Chan?
It was very interesting. Jackie Chan is, I saw him, he was in Game of Death with Bruce Lee, and he was just very, very young. And he did, and when they asked me to be the villain, I was thinking like, should I do it? And it was about balance, then I said, okay, let's do the villain. And try that as well. So I both be superhero and a villain, that would be great. But they didn't use any of my skills in that movie at all, basically. So I think that movie doesn't reflect anything I could do.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really do anything in that movie. I fought a little bit, but not really. I didn't do anything in that movie. And but it was a great experience. And I remember I flew in early, 10 days early, and I was so busy around the world. So suddenly I was just on Monday morning at 6 o'clock. They got the costume on. I looked up and there was Jackie Chan, and they're going, oh, and fighting scene. He's going to jump down. You're going to catch him and go. And you're like, oh, wait. There's Jackie Chan. I've never been hitting anybody on screen, and the first guy you're going to hit is Jackie Chan. So that was interesting. But he's a very nice man. He works very hard, and it was good.
Do you think you'll be as active as he is at his age?
He's 53, and he's that guy has broken, I think, every bone in his body, and he's very, very tough, and he has a charm to him, very good charm, and that man is extremely fit, and I hope so.
Do you find it hard to make decisions when you're the director and not just the actor?
I think I would love more to be the director. So I'm a very good director, and I think when the opportunity comes, when I direct either based on a movie or something else, we're working on all the products, or funny movie and all kind of things. Then I can really show that skills. That is a skill that I think I'm pretty good at. And actor, I'm not really good actor, not really. But it's difficult to play Sportacus. It's difficult because he have a range of smile that he cannot smile too much, he cannot smile too little. It's like half, it's not like Robbie Rotten could go like, he can be all the way. But so the range is very small. So you cannot really act too much. It's very difficult. So that's very, very difficult. That's why I play Sportacus. It's very difficult. The line is very thin. But I think I would like more directing. Yes.
Is it hard to make decisions when you're trying to be everyone? Like some people direct children's books, the writer and the illustrator, and if they draw something wrong, they think, do I change the words to match the picture, or change the picture to match the words?
No, I'm very consistent with. If it's here, it's going to be here. It's not. I just I'm very quick to see what I like or not. And I think that good director is not a guy who knows what he wants. It's know what he don't like. That's the director. So you're not saying I want you to. It's more like bring me what you have, and then I say no to something that I don't like. I think that's a good director. And director is also a guy that, but it's a different style of directing. It depends what kind of movie you're doing. But for me, no, I never had that problem. I sometimes forgot that I was actually playing Sportacus behind the camera, and I had to shoot on and I was doing all this, and suddenly I knew, okay, then Sportacus come in and do the splits, okay, Stephanie, run, okay, action. And I said, oh wait, I'm Sportacus, okay, wait, I'm coming. And then I realized that I was supposed to be in the shot, so that was very funny. And the main problem with shooting from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night is that you'll be physically warm. Physically, you have to be physically warm. That's very difficult for me. Because you have to be split at 9 o'clock and then 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And you normally do sport, you warm up, and then you do it, and then you cool down. And that was very difficult. So let's do another thing. We just talked to Susan later, and I'm always here traveling. We can maybe do a little filming later, and we should have a topic that we should talk about, whatever it should be. and we can try to set that up.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that would be good. And then we can have some like let's take only about directing. Okay, only about maybe I've never done it, and maybe I can take an episode and speak about the episode, what we are thinking.
That would be a very interesting.
And you can put it on because I've never done that.
Yeah, because on the news ones we always see, they're very similar. All the interviews, they all ask the same kind of
Exactly.
questions.
Yeah.
So we'll send something like that to Susan sometime, and we'll speak about it.
Yeah. It could be like a different topic instead of being like all about that, because normally interviews are like strokes about lazy time, but it's never like, okay, so when you did the set of Robbie Robin, where did you find it? Where was it? And we just talk about the set, or we just talk about the technology, or we just talk about like how was the puppy made, what was the main problem with it, and what happens to it, and what they did, whatever. So the topics are more like details, because there's a lot of details in Lazy Town, enormous details, who are maybe interesting for fans, who are more interesting than actually broad stroke.
Okay. Kind of like when you get a director's commentary on DVD.
Yes.
Yeah.
And something like that. So we could maybe take an episode and talk about a little bit. Something like that. Okay.
Last thing, should we get like a photograph of?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
Just ask somebody to take it for us. Is that the only
I'll take it for you.
Okay. Let's be here.
I'll tag along.